Well, here we are in the most dangerous room of the house, that being the kitchen. And this is basically following up on the previous video where I did offer to allow somebody to, or anybody really, to buy up the old prototype LVD cases for as low as $20 shipped. With the alternative being I would have a follow-up video to show how sturdy or not sturdy the cases are. Actually, my intent is really to just get rid of the cases because I have no need for old prototypes to be laying around. So I figured this would be kind of fun. I do expect and hope for complete destruction of these cases. So let's just see how creative we can get in busting them up. Going from left to right on the screen, you can see I've got a 12-pound sledgehammer. Next to it, I have a propane torch. And on the other side, flanking the cases, we have a paintball marker, or a 68 caliber gun of sorts. Actually bought it for what they call less than lethal home defense kind of scenario. Actually, really just for fun, but the less than lethal aspect is kind of cool too. Modified it to, the actual model of that device is a Tiberius. I believe it's like T8.1, something like that. Modified it so that the velocity of the markers is faster, and that gray device is the radar. I'll hold that up so you can see it. So it measures in feet per second. You put it over the muzzle and then you shoot and it'll give you a reading. I just have that there just to show you how I know how fast the ammunition is going. The ammunition in particular is this. They're called Bulls breaker balls. They're 68 caliber glass balls that are encased in a rubber-like material. Well, seems harder than rubber, but anyway, that's basically what they are. They're pretty heavy, and the radar, this radar that I showed you before, I clocked them out up to 270 feet per second. So that's how fast they'll be going. You can look up the weight of the balls if you care to know more about the full impact that they'll have. And the gun, of course, uses CO2 cartridges. So I'm going to actually just quickly load that up. You can see what that entails. It's nothing big. Let me see, I'm counting out some of the balls right now. Got 6, 7, 8, 9 or so, yeah. So the actual magazine holds 8. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So, and then I preload one into the gun. So let's do that real quick. Let's see. Okay. I normally don't puncture the cartridge until just before I actually start shooting. So I am now taking this 9th ball and I'll drop it in here. So now that's all the way down there. And take. Okay, and this is the safety. And I got a laser dot sight. Turn that off. But anyway, I'm not going to get to that quite yet. Save that for after the smashing and the burning. So you have something to look forward to. Oh, and what's this that I have in the background? That's a blender. Well, of course you know it's a blender. So that'll just answer the question, will it blend? Of course it'll blend. But anyway, we'll get to that later. Being safety experts, we'll use some nice glasses. Not gonna bother putting on flame-proof armor or anything like that. But anyway, just quick overview of these cases. I've got them organized from oldest to newest. The actual device, the final case isn't really in the picture, but if you really want to see what it looks like, I'm gonna just, this is what the final device actually looks like. So how did I get to that point? Well, it started with this one. Didn't have a display hole or anything like that because I was just testing the overall dimensions. In fact, I was hoping I could just have the display brightness shine through the case, which actually is what I'm doing with one of my other devices called the ZSS. This one evolved so that it would show the case, show the display and just the display, and then I was like, had a revelation a little bit later. I'll get to that shortly. This one, just changing up some of the specs, the dimensions, a little bit nicer. It fit the board a little bit better. By this point, I was like, okay, I need that display to be removable because I wanted to save extra power by taking that display out, dropping the power consumption from about 29 milliamps to 7 milliamps. You can see I have a hole in the side here so you can pop the display out. But the clearance wasn't exactly perfect on that one, so I made this one, changed things up a little bit. I kind of drilled some stuff out here, changed that size a little bit. This is the N-1 version, and I already showed you the final version, but this one was pretty close. You can also see that the colors, I made them darker as I progressed. Okay, well, It's time to smash something. I'm not going to get too picky. Let's just... This is pretty heavy, actually. It's only 12 pounds, but feels a lot heavier than that. Anyway, I'm going to just initially just drop it with gravity and see how much damage that causes. I'm not going to pick on any particular case. We'll just see what it smashes and then keep smashing whatever it is that it picks. Well, that shattered pretty easily. No need to keep picking on any particular case because that was like breaking glass. I mean, it's like pretty crazy. I'll do a close-up on any destruction at the end of the video. Right now it took a little effort just to get this smartphone propped up. Anyway, let's move on to the burning part. So we know it will smash. Do we know it will burn? Well, of course it'll burn, but how well does it burn? My testing shows, at least with a soldering iron, it doesn't melt, but it'll scorch. So let's see what happens. So, yeah, it definitely burns. Let's take it out and see what it looks like. Well, that answers that. Okay, well, you can see we have 3 unmolested cases left. Let's use them for target practice. Okay, well, I noticed that sometimes the red dot sight doesn't always stay on because the gun has a little bit of a kickback. Anyway, I've turned on the pressure, and we're gonna flick the safety here. Let's have some fun get the camera focused. Okay. Okay, well, that was that. Actually, took out a chunk of this. Took out a little chunk of the actual padding that I have on the floor here. That's kind of interesting. I'm going to take this for a closer look. Damn. That is a shame. But at least it has a good story. We're left with a couple troopers here. So here's a look at one of the cases that fared pretty interestingly from the gunfire. Fortunately, we have 2 cases left. Let's have some fun with that. I think if you want them to blend really good, throw some water in there. It's 1 cup of water. This is an old blender, so don't have the little centerpiece on it. But whatever. It'll keep things relatively calm. Let's see what happens. Let's put it on low. Let's see what this does. Oh, the bottom is the low options. We got whip, aerate, puree, crumb, chop. Well, let's chop this. Okay, well, that was fun. Let's just skip to high and grate it. Let's put this back on here. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea to hold the top, but of course I'm holding the smartphone. So let me just skip to a non-pulse action. Go right to the max. So we got high, liquefy, and I'll try to hold the top of this blender so we can minimize the craziness. Well, this blew out. So it actually holds up to the blender fairly well. Gives you a good look at how it looks like inside. Huh, that's funny. So the one that did the best is the very original one that doesn't have the display cut out or anything like that. So not too surprising. And that wraps it up. Thanks for watching.